Okay, so let's unpack this. Today we're diving deep, really deep, into one of the world's great epics, the Mahabharata.
It's quite the undertaking.
Absolutely. We're focusing on the very beginning, the Adi Parva, or Book of the Beginning. Our mission, to navigate this huge, sprawling story, pull out the key insights, the surprising bits, and really get a grip on how this massive conflict started. We're using these fantastic Mahabharata, the genesis of kings and conflict excerpts as our guide. Think of this as your shortcut to understanding an epic that honestly still resonates today.
And it really needs that shortcut, doesn't it? What's fascinating, and the source points this out, is that it's not just a story. It's a story within a story, inside another story.
Layers upon layers.
Exactly. We're talking over 100,000 verses. The text itself says even the gods stop to listen. It's massive. But don't worry, our aim here is to make these complex beginnings clear, accessible, and actually really engaging for you.
That story within a story idea is immediately gripping, isn't it? It makes you lean in.
Yeah.
So let's start right there with the storyteller. The composer of this colossal epic is the great Sage Vyasa,
Right.
born of a river nymph, Satyavati, and a sage, Parashara. And Vyasa didn't just, write it and publish it. He taught it to his disciple, Vaishampayana. And then Vaishampayana narrates it to King Janamekaya. Now, Janamekaya is key here. He's a great-grandson of Arjuna, a name many might recognize.
Yeah, and it's crucial why Janamekaya is listening. I mean, this isn't some bedtime story. The narration actually happens during this pretty terrifying ritual, a huge snake sacrifice.
A snake sacrifice. Why?
Well, Janamekaya was trying to avenge his father's death. His father, King Kurukshetra, that's Arjuna's grandson, he'd insulted a sage and got cursed to die by snake bite.
Oh, wow.
And the curse came true. The serpent Takshaka bit him and he died. So Janamekaya, furious, vows revenge on all snakes. He starts this Sarpa Satra, this horrific ritual, pulling snakes into a fire.
Good grief.
And the source highlights this amazing dramatic timing. The Mahabharata storytelling begins just as the final serpent was about to be sacrificed. So the whole epic emerges from this moment of intense grief and vengeance.
What an incredible setup for a story. Right in the middle of this cosmic revenge plot against snakes. Okay, so to get the players straight, we need to look at the Kuru dynasty lineage.
Right.
It goes way back, apparently, to Emperor Bharata, son of Shakuntala and King Dushyanta. And eventually, this line leads us to King Shantanu.
Ah, Shantanu.
Yeah, and Shantanu falls hard for Ganga, the river goddess, but she's in human form. She agrees to marry him, but there's a catch, a big one.
Always a catch.
One condition, she says. He must never question her actions, whatever she does.
And you just know that's not going to end well. I mean, it immediately makes you think about trust, devotion, and what happens when you promise something like that.
Exactly. He agrees, but tragedy strikes almost instantly. Ganga gives birth, and then she drowns the baby.
Just like that.
And again, the source says, 7 babies gone. You can only imagine Shantanu's horror, his agony.
It's unbearable to think about.
Finally, with the 8th child, he just snaps. He confronts her, breaks the promise.
And that's when she reveals the secret. These weren't just babies. They were the 8 Vasus, sort of celestial beings, cursed to be born human. She was freeing them.
So her horrific actions had a divine purpose.
Apparently so. But the 8th one, because Shantanu intervened, he had to stay. This child was Devarata, and he would grow up to be Bhishma.
Bhishma, okay.
Yeah, and this whole episode, it really sets a theme, the divine messing with the human, curses, duties. It shows how mortal choices get tangled up with these huge cosmic forces. It shapes everything.
Devarata, the future Bhishma, what an origin, marked by divine plans and deep human pain. So fast forward. Shantanu, years later, wants to marry again.
He does. This time, a fisherwoman, Satyavati. Very beautiful.
But here we go again. Her father has one condition. Only her children can inherit the throne, which is a problem because Devavrata is the rightful heir.
Right, the son he saved from drowning.
Exactly. So Devavrata does something incredible, an act of just immense loyalty. He renounced the throne, steps aside completely.
Which is already huge.
But he goes further. He makes this terrible, profound vow, never to marry, never to father children. To ensure Satyavati's line is secure, the text says the gods thundered in approval.
Wow.
And it's because of the sheer intensity of that vow, he gets his new name, Bhishma, meaning the terrible one, but ever so does a vow that absolute cause problems later, even if it's noble.
That's the million-dollar question, isn't it? What's so fascinating here is Bhishma's vow, totally noble, right? made so his dad could be happy. But it's a perfect example of unintended consequences.
How so?
Well, it makes you ask, can even the best sacrifice, of purest intention, accidentally create this tangle of future problems? Not just for him, but for everyone. It's all about dharma duty, righteousness versus destiny. Bhishma's choice, so extreme, doesn't just shape his life. It sends out these ripples, karmic ripples that affect the whole Kuru dynasty, locking them into certain paths, maybe even towards disaster.
Yeah, the weight of that one promise feels immense, like it sets a pattern. Okay, now another twist involving Satyavati, the fisherwoman queen.
Yes, her backstory.
Turns out, before she married Shantanu, she had a child with Sage Parashara. And guess who that child was?
Let me guess. Vyasa.
Vyasa, the composer of the Mahabharata himself.
Incredible. Talk about keeping secrets.
Right. And this becomes crucial because after Shantanu dies, Satyavati's 2 sons with him also die, without heirs. The dynasty's on the brink.
A crisis.
Total crisis. So, in desperation, she calls on her secret son, Vyasa, the sage, to, save the family line.
A real ace up her sleeve, as you said, and it shows the lengths they'd go to preserve the lineage, right? But it also shows how desperate measures can kind of build flaws right into the foundations of power.
How does Vyasa help?
Well, there was this ancient custom, basically a way for a sage to father children for a royal line in crisis. Vyasa agrees. He fathers 3 sons with the widows of the dead princes and a maidservant.
Okay.
The first is Dhritarashtra, born blind. The second is Pandu, born pale and weak. And the third is Vidura, very wise, but born of a maid, so he's not eligible to rule.
Blind, weak, and ineligible. Not exactly a smooth succession plan.
Exactly. These aren't just random details. Dhritarashtra's blindness, Vidura's status, these create immediate cracks, guarantee future fights over who's the rightful ruler, short-term fix, long-term problems.
And those tensions, built in from birth, they really heat up fast.
Yeah.
Pandu, the pale one, he becomes king initially.
Right.
But he gets cursed too. If he touches either of his wives, he'll die instantly.
Another curse. This family has terrible luck.
Seriously.
Yeah.
So he retreats to the forest with his 2 wives, Kunti and Madri. But Kunti has her own secret. A secret gift.
Let me guess. Something divine.
Yep. A mantra to summon gods and have children with them.
Okay, that's quite a gift.
So she uses it. First, she summons Yama, god of Dharma, and as Yudhishthira. Then Vayu, god of wind, for Bhima. Then Indra, king of gods, for Arjuna.
Wow. 3 sons, all divinely fathered.
Then she shares the mantra with Madri, the other wife.
Yeah.
Madri summons the Ashwini twins' divine physicians and has twin sons, Nakula and Satdeva.
So those 5.
Those 5 are the Pandavas, demigods, essentially.
It sets them apart, doesn't it?
Right.
Blessed, maybe, but also marked by this divine connection. Meanwhile, back at the palace, blind Dhritarashtra, he fathers 100 sons, the Kauravas, led by the oldest, the proud, very cunning Duryodhana.
100 sons versus 5.
Right. So eventually Pandu dies. The curse finally gets him. Kunti returns to the court with the 5 Pandavas. They're welcomed, sort of. The text says they were also feared.
Feared because of their divine parentage.
Probably. And this is where the real rivalry kicks off. It's not just family squabbles anymore. It's psychology. Jealousy grew, hatred bloomed, the seeds of war were sown. That's the starting gun for the whole epic conflict. Fear and envy just poison everything.
And those seeds, they sprout pretty quickly into, outright evil. Duryodhana, just eaten up with jealousy, plots to kill the Pandavas.
Already.
Yes. He arranges for them to stay in this specially built palace. Sounds nice, but it's made of wax and ghee.
Oh no, I see where this is going.
He waits till they're inside and then set it ablaze. A direct murder attempt. Thoughts. The Pandavas get a warning, escape through a secret tunnel, they vanish into the forest, and everyone thinks they're dead. Believe dead.
Wow. That's chilling. It just cements Duryodhana's character, doesn't it? Not just a rival, but actually treacherous. Willing to commit mass murder.
Definitely escalates things from rivalry.
Big time. It sets that pattern of deceit. But it also shows the Pandavas. They're tough, resourceful. Even when everyone thinks they're gone, they survive, which they'll need later.
Their resilience is amazing. So they're in hiding, presumed dead. And while they're laying low, they hear about this big event. Princess Draupadi of Panchala is holding her Swayamvara.
Her choosing a husband ceremony.
Exactly. And Arjuna, disguised as a poor Brahmin, decides to try his luck. The challenge seems impossible. shoot the eye of a spinning metal fish, but only by looking at its reflection in a pool of water below. Okay, that's a proper heroic challenge. And Arjuna, being Arjuna, nails it. The hall gasped. Draupadi had found her husband. Victory.
Brilliant.
But then, the twist. They take Draupadi home to their mother, Kunti. Kunti's inside, doesn't see what alms they've brought back, and just says her usual line, share it among yourselves.
Oh, oh dear. She didn't know it was a wife.
Nope. And a mother's word, especially Kunti's, is sacred, inviolable.
Yeah.
And thus, Draupadi became the wife of all 5 brothers.
Wow. Talk about a twist of fate. Polyandry, that's unusual even for epics.
Totally unexpected.
Yeah, and it's such a significant moment. Born from a misunderstanding, a mother's casual word. It binds the brothers together even tighter, creates this unbreakable unit. But, it also introduces this incredibly complex, potentially explosive dynamic for later.
You can see how that might cause issues.
Absolutely. It just shows how in these stories, normal rules get bent or broken by fate or divine stuff or just accidents, creating situations that are really hard to navigate.
So they're back from the dead. They've won Draupadi. What happens when they show up in Hastinapura again?
Right. Triumphant return, alive, victorious, with a shared wife. To avoid immediate war, Dhritarashtra, maybe advised by Bhishma or Vidura, gives them basically the worst piece of land. A barren forest, Indraprastha.
Sort of an insult, really.
Seems like it. But the Pandavas, with their divine connections and maybe help from Krishna, they perform this miracle, they transform it, turned it into a shining city, Indraprastha.
Wow. From barren forest to shining city.
Exactly. A testament to their power, their righteousness. And for a little while, it seems like peace might actually hold a golden age almost.
Okay, a moment of calm.
A moment. Peace reigned for a while. But it can't last. This amazing city, Indraprastha, probably just made Duryodhana even more jealous.
Right. Proof of their success.
Exactly. It shows that real peace isn't just, not fighting. It's resolving the hate underneath. And the source ends this section perfectly, ominously. But shadows loomed on the horizon, and the dice had not yet been thrown.
Chills. Setting up the next big disaster. So this deep dive into the Adi Parva. What a ride.
It really is.
We've seen it all. Divine births, impossible vows, terrible betrayals, these rivalries just simmering and starting to boil over. It truly was the beginning, laying all the groundwork.
And what's really striking looking back is how everything connects. The choices people made, the curses, the vows gods, surges, humans. They weave this incredibly intricate web, destiny, free will. It's all tangled up.
It's not just backstory then.
Not at all. The Adi Parva is like the DNA of the whole conflict. Everything that happens later grows out of these roots, which leads to maybe a final thought for you to consider.
Okay.
Think about how these individual choices, Bhishma's vow, Kunti's words, Janamajaya's rage, these ancient curses made in these intense moments, how they set off this unstoppable chain reaction, shaped a whole dynasty, led to this unimaginable war. It makes you wonder, doesn't it? How often do our own firm decisions, or maybe burdens we inherit, how often do they quietly steer our lives, or even the lives of generations after us in ways we just don't see coming?
That's a powerful thought to end on. The echoes of the beginning.